We are now having a G5 geomagnetic storm. And on the planetary K index, it is a KP9. That's the top of the scale. Don't mean you can't have stronger storms. Well, my friends, we are having what's labeled by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration a extreme solar storm. What does this mean? Well, it could mean you could have problems with power grid in some areas. We're not talking a Carrington level event, but we're talking an event that is, according to the NOAA, extreme. And I'm going to unpack this, guys. We're going to talk about what it means and what the ramifications are according to the definition. We're going to look at history of similar storms. The last time this occurred was in the year 2003, October 2003, what was called the Halloween storms. And prior to that, we had a storm in 1989 called the Quebec Hydro event that took out the power grid in Quebec. This could be a similar storm to that because it did just hit K9 then and hit the G5 for that storm, for those storms. It was two storms. They're very similar to this because it was two storms that launched that, and we're having multiple storms now. I'm going to unpack all this. I'm going to show you the data, the history, and the effects. And I don't want to be misquoted by a bunch of people. So pay attention and watch my video. That's what's happening in the comment sections where I've been posting my videos. People they don't even watch the video. They're just shooting from the hip. Sorry, my friends. Let's unpack this and look at what is happening here. This is the NOAA website for their Space Weather Prediction Center. The Space Weather Prediction Center of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And you can see we are now at K9 on the planetary index. And the K index, what that measures is stress on Earth's geomagnetic field taken from magnetometers around the world. That's how they get this. This is a measurement that has been taken for over 75 years, but with the data, they've been able to track the K indexes back now and have them plotted to 1932, almost 100 years back now. Definitely, 88 years or something like that. Anyway, guys, so let's look forward here. We're going to go forward here. And yes, I'm not making this stuff up. Here is my sources. Man, I get challenged by so many people. G5 conditions observed. G5 conditions observed. This is again from the Space Weather Prediction Center at the NOAA. Key message: extreme G5 conditions reached Earth at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, so this just hit, a little over an hour ago. Geomagnetic storm is likely to persist through the weekend, and several additional Earth-directed coronal mass ejections are in transit. Oh yeah, there was the biggest in this series occurred this morning. An X 3.9, almost an X.4. And oh yeah, the Quebec Hydro event, it had a X-class solar flare leading it, but it was actually the M-class that followed it that actually did the damage, because that X-class that followed, it paved the way, kind of cleared everything out for the next one to hit. So sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out what's really going to happen in these flares. All right, guys, so let's go here and look at the data. Now, this is what you can expect with a G5, and this is according to NOAA. I pulled it up on the space weather, but you can find the same chart because this is an NOAA chart. Geomagnetic storms. I can go back here and find it if you want me to. It's all back in here somewhere or another. So, we won't waste your time with that today, but guys, widespread. Now, some people have accused me of making claims. No, I'm reading data, guys. Widespread voltage control problems and protective system problems can occur, and they have occurred in the past. And I'm going to show you more on that in a little bit. Some grid systems may experience complete collapse or blackouts. That's a may. It's not a will, but it could happen, and it has happened. Transformers may experience damage. spacecraft operations may experience extensive surface charging, problems with orientation, uplink, downlink, and tracking for the satellites. Other systems, pipeline currents may reach hundreds of amps. Oh, yeah. Don't be grabbing pipelines right now, my friends. High frequency radio propagation may be impossible in many areas for 1 or 2 days. Satellite navigation may be degraded for days. Low frequency radio navigation may be out for hours. And Aurora may be seen as far south as Florida or southern Texas. Wow, now that would be nice. So I'm going to go out here after I upload this video, and I'm going to see if I can see any Aurora here in North Alabama. All right, my friends. Here we are at Solar Helm. I couldn't get this to come up the other day for some reason. But this is a great source for data. You can see the afflicting sunspot here, 3664. Over here, there's actually, this has got a different number and designator. They're not showing it right now. So there it is, 3664, my friends. That is a ginormous sunspot. Whether or not it's the size of the Carrington spot, some sources say yay, some say nay. It's immaterial. It's a huge sunspot. It's big enough to cause some troubles in some places, and it could fire even bigger stuff. And it don't always take the biggest stuff to cause some of the problems, as in the Quebec Hydro event I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. All right, here we are, 3664. This is showing the magnetic fields, the different colors of the different polarities, north-south. That's how you do it with magnetic. Actually, on here, they're using positive and negative sometimes. I've seen that on some of these depictions. In any event, my friends, here you can see how hot that area is. We'll look at some flare video in a moment. But what you got to see is this. Here are the flares that's been kicked out of late. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 3664. 7 flares. Start with the M4. And oh shoot, this is going to give that. They dropped one off the list here. Oh, this is all in the past 48 hours. These are in the past 48 hours. Okay. So we've got 4 M class flares. Oh, the M5.9 is pretty big. We got X. Now, what could follow this? This is what you got to worry about. This is a Carrington stuff. Right now, we're dealing with this stuff. This will come later. This is what you better watch out for. X3.9 and M5.9. After all the charge in space has been cleared by these things and particles, it's matter. It's charged matter sweeping through space. And so that when one wave sweeps the other out, you could have the next one gets through easier. You're going to see that in a little bit. I'm going to show you this stuff. An extreme geomagnetic storm continues with the KP index nearing, well, they go to G5. That's not the KP index. They made a mistake here. Okay. Well, this is your ham radio side. Oh, look at the Aurora right now. This is the forecast. That is intensive, my friends. And you can also look at it from the South Pole. Wow, there's Antarctica. Too bad you boys in Australia can't really see that, I don't think, but who knows, maybe you will. All right, 4 events logged. This isn't the latest, my friends. We're going to go look at this on another chart. So, that's it. Yeah, there's another, this is just a static picture. There's another video. I'll play the video for you guys in a minute. That was earlier. Yeah, some of the stuff's not updated. Man, that's a ginormous sunspot area. Yeah, it's now KP9 and G5. So this website is not quite updated. Here we are, my friends. This is from the NOAA Solar Wind Prediction. This is solar wind. And you can see the intensities. Earth is this little green dot right here. This is Earth. I've got this played up to just a little bit earlier than right now. This shows that the main bulk of this first wave passed in the orbit ahead of Earth. We're getting kind of the tail of it, giving us a G9. If we were over here, or if that sunspot hadn't rotated a bit, it could have hit us broadside a lot harder. Be thankful for that. So I'm going to play this. Look at that. Now, this may be what's just come out from the sun. We just had those 2 flares today. All right. Now, this shows, now we're into 11th. This will be tomorrow at 9 a.m. That would be UTC time. So Central time, that would be like 3 in the morning. It'd be like 4 in the morning Eastern. So here, oh, no, we got low. That's a bigger wave hitting us right there. Now, again, we're missing the bulk of it right there. We would not want to be right here. But even here, we're catching a pretty good wave. According to this, now this is an estimate, mind you, on this hits about midnight on the 12th. So that would be midnight UTC. So that would still be the 10th for all of us here in the United States. So East Coast, that would be 8. My time, that would be about 7 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. my time tomorrow. We can see a big storm coming right here. And I'm not even sure if this is really updated. That's the flares that just kicked out or what. Because you don't really know when the last update on some of the stuff was. Yeah, that's a pretty good wave coming through here. And they're showing the intensity here on Earth. This Earth is the blue one in the center. We got stereo A up here, satellite, and stereo B satellite right here. And this is showing it on radial velocity, and this is plasma density. So let's go back up a little bit. Let's look what we just have hit us. I wish I could blow this up. There we are right now, being hit, passing. And there we are getting hit again. All right, this could start earlier. It looks like it actually may start 5 or 6 my time tomorrow. So that earlier than we thought. Oh, that's the 13th. Wow, I'm not sure this has really caught all the other storms. We'll have to see, because, they don't, what was this update? Image created 1021 UT. So this image is old. This is an old image. It may not incorporate the latest flares. This image is actually old. 1021 UTC. So now it's 8:29 here. That would have been created at my time of 6. Oh, no. It would have been created. I got to take 6 hours. That'd been 4. This was over 4 hours ago. Over 4 hours ago, this image was created. Like I said, they can't update everything immediately. They say that's not the way it works. This is where you typically see aurora from different class of flares. A KP9 is normally this low. I did see the aurora back in 2003, and I saw the one also right here in Alabama. I saw the one that occurred after that too, in 2005. My friends, this is a space weather. I'm talking about the 6 CMEs, jolting our magnetosphere. That we all know that. There's just another picture of the sun. This big sun. See, this sunspot, if it was right here, we'd be in huge trouble. Fortunately, it's beginning to clock around. The more it clocks around, the better off we are. Let's hope it's calmed down before it comes back around from the other side of the sun. That's all I got to say. It probably will. It probably will. Sunspots wax and wane. But you got to see this stuff, guys. Here, they've been seeing sunspots in the southern and northern hemispheres. Not sunspots, I mean auroras. Beautiful thing when you get these really big red auroras when this geomagnetic storm is super powerful. They go red. It means they're down deeper in the atmosphere which is still way, way, way up, way higher than the balloons or anything that flies. But it's like, 400,000 feet. It's way up there. But still, they go down lower, and they're actually exciting oxygen molecules. That's what gives them the red. It's the oxygen. So let's look at this. For forecast. Well, that's for later. Because it shows night. It's not night all these places yet. So once again, we look at severe geomagnetic storm likely to continue. Likely to continue. This was an older one. It was still a G4. All right, my friends, here we are. Now we can play this here. I think, yeah, there we go. Takes a minute to update. This is a little different view. It's pretty much the same thing, actually. See a big bulk flying out in the orbit ahead of Earth? Ain't you glad we're not there? This thing's clocked around. Anyway, let's go forward. Look at some other stuff here. Oh, what's your forecast? 3-day forecast. This is actually an old forecast. Issued May the 10th. That's the day. The greatest observed 3-hour KP over the past 24 hours was 3 low NOAA skill levels. I don't mean. Observed 3 hours KP over the past 24 hours. That somebody ain't writing right. The greatest expected 3-hour KP for May 10th. For May, 10 May 12 is 8.33. Well, we've already passed it. We've already passed that. So this is already updated. Yeah, this stuff's just breaking, guys. We'll see more. We're going to see more. Geomagnetic storm watch for the 11th month. Why 11 May? Because, guys, this thing just fired off. Let's go back here again. Let's look at this. This one fired off at 1411 UTC today. 1411 UTC. That would have been 1011 Central Time. And that was a 5.9. The X3.9 fired off also today. It would have been in the wee hours, just 6 minutes shy of 1 a.m. today here locally. All right, so this my time right now because I'm going to upload this, so it will be later. Here, this explains your KP indexes. That's a big, long scientific paper on it. You probably don't want me to go into that right now, but here's what I want you guys to see. Solar storms. What's our risk of power transformers? It's been, Greg, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever will happen. Oh, it has happened. We did have the Quebec hydro event. We have had these coils fried by the ground geomagnetic induced currents. That's what this picture of fried coils and one of those large transformers I tell you guys about that are at risk from these kind of storms. That's what our biggest risk is. So in this article here talks about the Hydro-Quebec power grid, which was taking 6 million people out of power back in 1989. They had a blowout of a power transformer. All the other articles say, well, they had the circuit breakers broke. No, they had a transformer burn out. There's a lot of downplaying on a lot of this stuff. But also, New Jersey had damage to a transformer. Actually, that's what this was. Transformer belonging to the Public Service Electric and Gas Company in New Jersey. Was taken out. Also in 2005 and 2012, there was up to 200 amp current wave detected on some of the neutral transmission lines were supposed to be neutral, no voltage. Of course, they pick up voltage just like any other line. Yeah, and look, some others reached 3,000 amp in 2000, year 2000. So you get these over amperages. It causes a lot of problems. You can burn out coils. You can fry a lot of stuff. But let's see here. Here's what you want to see. Also, 2007, an article out of Cape Town University explains that they thought they weren't going to have issues with their transformers in the southern hemisphere because they thought weren't be as susceptible to it, and then discovered that was an erroneous viewpoint because they had transformers fried in 2007 in South Africa. Yeah, and they tried to make up those transformers themselves and rebuild them, and because they thought, though, they could do it, without hiring the skilled artisans that normally do it. And the transformers they rebuilt only lasted 3 years, according to the late great Dr. Peter Vincent Pry. So, yes, sir, they had transformers fried. All right, here we are, guys. This is the details. This is the skinny on this the Great Quebec Blackout, March 13th, 2021. The day the sun brought darkness, although it actually hit at night. Yes, it was nighttime when this hit and took out the grid there. For those of you that are so smug and self-assured that these only occur in the daytime. I've heard some big YouTubers say that. Well, I actually know where you got it. There's some of that data is actually posted on the NOAA website. But we have historical examples that tell us otherwise, like this Quebec hydro event, which occurred in the wee hours of the morning during darkness. Why? Because Earth's magnetic field reaches around the planet. The whole thing rings like a bell in response. 2 explosions of an X 4.5 on March 10th and an M 7.3 on March 12th. Targeted Earth with CMEs. That's kind of like the ones we got coming up. Very much like what we had. And what they said on here is that the strength of the storm had just touched a K9, a G5, somewhere here. But they claim that their grid is much harder in Quebec now, that they've hardened it some. So maybe they can handle this. Maybe that's why they got through 2003. Maybe. Anyway, so this is more on this storm. You can find it on Wikipedia, Quebec hydro storm. And we are likely, it's quite possible that the storm we're seeing today could be just like that one. What occurred? Caused significant interference to the United States power grid. Substantial communications blackouts occurred, past tense. The burst caused shortwave radio interference, including disruption of radio signals from radio-free Europe to Russia, where we're trying to tell them, give up your commie ways. By 1989, they were well on their way to that, thanks to Ronnie Reagan. So, in fact, the wall was falling. Some satellites in polar orbits lost control for several hours. The GOES weather satellite communications were interrupted. That's the one that reports this stuff to us, causing weather images to be lost. NASA's TDRS-1 communication satellite recorded over 250 anomalies. All right, guys, so you can see this does have effects. How will Starlink react? That's a good question. I really wonder about that. All right, guys, so here we are. This is a report by NERC, the National Electric Reliability Corporation, on the March 13th, 1989 geomagnetic disturbance. And you can see the K scales and an A scale, which has got to do with a different way of they measure this stuff. And it says here on March 13th, 1989, there were 2 periods where the geomagnetic intensity registered K.9, 2 periods. 2 periods. So it didn't just go there and stay there. And yet it caused major frying of the Quebec hydro power grid. Fortunately, they were able to get it back up in a few hours, so it didn't burn out all the transformers, but one was damaged. And a bunch of breakers tripped. All righty. And there's a list of solar storms. These things occur. They're natural. We just haven't developed our technology to handle them yet, even in spite of some of us having really pushed hard for that. Like I have, I've chaired 2 power grid defense conferences. I'm pointing the podium placard back there. I'll show when I go off the big screen here. And I'm a member of 2 power grid defense committees. We're chock full of scientists and engineers who are trying, and some policymakers who are trying to influence things to get something done. People from the power industry, few, but most of them are against us because they don't want to have to do the work. So here we are, guys. You can see the Carrington event here, other storms listed, the 1921 railroad event storm, which is on par almost with the Carrington event, not quite, but we can find the March Halloween, well, that's March, excuse me, Halloween 1989 storm that took out Quebec Hydro. It was 2003 that we had the Halloween storms, excuse me. So here we are, Halloween storms 2003. Yes, sir. And there they had Aurora visible as far south as Texas. Well, that's the level storm we're having right now. It could be between this and the Quebec Hydro event up here. So it doesn't take ginormous X flares to do this, is what you can see from what happened to the Quebec Hydro power grid. So, and as our magnetic field on Earth drops, it makes it more likely that weaker storms can get us. Guys, get prepared. I'll talk to you about a few things to do for your grid. But if the grid goes down, you're going to be hurting for food and maybe power. Come in here to prepwithgreg.com. We got the Grid Doctor Solar 300. You get a solar array and this system all for $447, which is $50 less than you get this on their own website, Grid Doctor 300, which is a lot less than I paid just for the Jackery I have. I got one of supposedly a really good big Jackery, and then you'll pay $150 for that from Harbor Freight or something like that, comparable to that level, which I don't think it's worth the dog. Need that or the Jackery. So this is a pretty good deal, guys. You need to think about that. Or your long-term food storage. Think about that too. We got a special here, $50 off. 4 weeks, a month worth of food for $187 that lasts 30 days. Something to think about, my friends. All righty. This is a scientific paper on mapping that 1989 geomagnetic storm. This mostly goes into the actual mapping of it more than anything else. So I'm not going to dig into this. All righty. Some people think earthquakes are tied to this stuff. Well, we got a big one up here. Look at that. 5.0 in Hiro, Japan. We got over here in Taiwan, Hualien City. That place is getting hammered. We got a bunch of them over here in Indonesia. 5.1 over here in Papua New Guinea, 5.6. Papa's popping. I don't know, guys. I'm not going to say that's connected. But this area right here is pretty intense, right here. But it's the Ring of Fire. We always see earthquakes there, so I don't know. I do know that, a rock is piezoelectric. You put a current on it, it makes it want to move. And earthquake lights, because the rocks are about to move, so they emit charge. So they've understood that. So you could have the converse. Could have it. All right, my friends. So once again, that's my podium placard right there for the 2 power grid defense conferences I chaired. And we're trying to get this stuff done. We're trying to get it done right. So here's what you need to take away from this. The waveform for I get people, when I post a video, tons of people, what do I do? They don't watch my video through. That's why they ask a lot of questions. The waveform from the sun is an EMP scale. They have E1, E2, and E3. It's the E3 waveform. It's the long frequency. Long frequency. It's picked up by long conductors, power lines, rail lines, pipelines. You could have hundreds of amps going through a pipeline. Don't be touching a raw pipeline with your bare hands right now. Don't be grabbing a long conductor with your bare hands right now. Just be careful. It might be time to consider You can watch these charts when things are expected to arrive. If you're living in the northern latitudes, you're going to be the higher north you are, the more susceptible you are. You might want to consider unplugging your cherished electronic devices because a surge may come through your house and may indeed, it be too fast for the breakers to stop it. And even if the breakers stop it, it's maybe strong enough to jump the gap. You'll have an arc instead of, when you throw the breaker open, they just arc right across. So that can happen. So that means you can still have a current. And if you got some of these so-called protected devices, there's something called current division. You still get current in your house. So, guys, that is something to consider, that you might want to unplug your more cherished electronics before this goes down. There could be some risk of house fires. Keep a house fire extinguisher. This is not the keratin event, but there could still be some risk. I really don't expect to see that in any great detail. But the biggest thing might be you want to unplug some of your electronics that it might be sensitive to current. Or anything else you think in your house might be sensitive. You may just want to shut off your breaker and unplug stuff. You may do both. Because your main breaker in your house go dark. So in the future, you might want to consider off-grid living. Might be safer. You want to consider long-term food storage. If this event takes everything down, I don't think it will. I'm like 99% confident it's not going to take everything down. How about 99.9999? I really no. Engineers do not speak 100%. It's absolute certainty because we know there's always that little bitty chance that something can throw off. That's just the way the world works. And probability, nothing is really 100%. We like to talk 100% sometimes, but it's not actually reality. But there is a chance that you could have some damage. There's some chance you could have power outages. But my main reason for putting this stuff up is not this sunspot. This sunspot's a harbinger. It's a warning. It's a shot across the bow. If you watch this video this far, see, yes, Greg, I want to know you watched it this far. Because I got all these comments, blah, 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 blah. Ain't nothing going to happen. Nothing ever happened. Blah, blah, blah. Tell me it's a shot. You said this, which I never say, You said it's going to do this. You said it's going to take out a power grid. You said it's going to blah, blah. I get those kind of comments all the time. I don't say those things. But so, post, yes, Greg, I agree. A shot across the bow. Then they'll watch to see what this is all about. Because that's what I really think it is. This is a warning. It's our opportunity to get our act together. Why? Because we aren't at we're probably not at solar maximum yet. You expect these sunspots to be getting closer to the equator. They say solar maximum may occur earlier this time and last longer. We may get a lot more of these. Or this one might survive going around the backside of the sun and come back bigger. I don't think it will. It's not typical, but we're not in a typical scenario. It's still possible. I don't think it will, but it's still possible. Or some other sunspot could grow ginormous. This one grew pretty big, pretty fast. Yeah, we watched it come around. Oh, that's interesting. Whoa. Yeah. So pay attention. The main thing is get your stuff together. Buy seeds. You can check out my link to Truly. Buy extra seed, just in case the environment goes bad or something. You get a hailstorm. Maybe you need to give some to your neighbors so they'll have something to grow with. They don't want to eat you. But yeah, watch touching long bear conductors during this storm. Keep yourself generally well grounded unless you touch a conductor and then near the path to ground. You don't do that. Maybe you need to wear some, in that case, you might need to wear some tennis shoes, with rubber soles. Wear gloves, rubber gloves. If you got to touch some fence, I don't think fences are going to give you a problem because they are stapled in every so often. Except an electric fence. You grab an electric fence, you got to get more shock than you bargained for. Yeah, we used to do it when I was a kid, to shock somebody next to us. Grab them and grab the fence and then go through us to them. We expected, they didn't. Yeah, it was one of our tricks we used to play. Yeah, electric fence jokes. Used to do a lot of them. So, my friends, if you're not subscribed, bang the notification bell and click all. Share my videos, please. It's Greg Allison with Green Greg's. Yeah, I didn't say all up front because I was trying to launch into the message. Just trying to get straight to the chase here today. Because this is something to pay attention to. It is serious. That's considered, it's called an extreme geomagnetic storm. We may lose some comms. We may lose some internet. I don't know. Could affect your banking. Could affect your work. Maybe you go fishing. But be careful. Be careful. That's all I got to say. But this should be considered a warning shot, a harbinger. It could be worse. We could have a Carrington event. And even if we don't have a Carrington event, maybe that's something like this rolls around. Those people that's got all our systems bugged with viruses. I'm talking about China's, Volt Typhoon group and groups like that. They got off switches. They got our off switches just ready to toggle, shut everything down. Maybe they'll wait for an event like this. Oh, look, the storm got you. How would you know? You ain't got no power. You ain't got no comms. You can't watch the news. You can't look on the internet. It's all gone. How would you know? How would you know? Be prepared. Don't be scared. Be prepared. That's what I tell you. Get ready, folks. We're in for an interesting ride, whatever it is. I'm not saying what it's going to be. I'm just saying it looks interesting coming ahead. There's too many odd things coming at us. So be prepared. Keep your eyes wide open and head on a swivel. And with that, I'm going to say thank you for watching. Greg out.